And I was also going to discuss the fact that I was thinking of turning down the music during the comics because last time I got all these copyright strikes when I tried to upload to YouTube, because you know how these things are. And sometimes with Silent Hill music, you actually get, like, I remember somebody saying they got copyright strikes for people who covered the songs and not, like, from Konami and not from Akira Yamaoka or anyone, like, vaguely related to, you know, people who should be doing it. Not that Konami isn't crap about it too, but, you know, even, like, with Yamaoka's samples, like, if another musician or band has sampled that, like, sometimes you'll get weird YouTube strikes, which is, like, total crap. So anyway, I was just explaining myself here. So let's... Then you gotta wait for it. Okay, we're gonna back up. Okay, and forward just takes us to that, like, slideshow in the theater area. And we have not been in the left wing of this school yet. I think this is pretty much all comics. Just keep pressing things and see what we end up with. Yeah, I think this might be it. So, anyway, this is the one I was going to turn down because it's just random Silent Hill tracks anyway. I mean, not that the music isn't good, but I just didn't want to get the YouTube copyright strikes again, so I was going to upload to there as well. Also, I just read that Twitch is going to stop letting you upload anything at all, like starting on the 10th, unless you're an affiliate or higher, so who knows if I'll ever get that, so I don't know if I'll be able to upload here anymore, so I might just be streaming for a while and uploading only on YouTube, which, again, the YouTube channel URL is just Alchemil Hospital with the number 1 after it. But yeah, the comics. So this is the only one that's not... Wait a minute, let me turn this down and actually start it. Okay, desktop audio. Let me actually press the button now. Still playing through my speakers. I'm knocking over my drink. I'd put random sound effects over it and it would be just as well, you know. It's like a lot of it doesn't necessarily go with it. I mean, they just sort of slapped whatever onto it, I think. So this is the story that's about the journalist, and it has some strange references to the games, but they're just unlikable. Like, this dude, like, I just don't give a damn if he lives or dies, and I don't care about Rosie, his girlfriend, there either. So, like, if bad things happen to her, I'm like, well, so what? I don't care about her, you know? And it's just the mark of just not enough good storytelling in it. I'm sure it's a difficult medium to work in when you're trying to, like, tie it in to a long-standing video game series, but still, just judging, well, pretty much, well, not all, but most of the comics, just judging them on their own merit. They don't, like, have much merit, I found. And yet I read them anyway, because they're Silent Hill things. And especially these days we don't have, much new material, so I gotta go back to things like this. I do enjoy some of the art style in this, though, so I can say that for it. Then the dying inside, those ones it's a different artist. And I enjoy some of the art in that too, if not any of the story. But yeah, it's mostly the bubbles that are animated, but once you get further in, it's like there's animated flames and things, and the monsters just sort of zoom in, and it's not like, I mean, when you think animation, this is not what you're thinking of. So I can really understand why this format didn't take off. I mean, there was that Metal Gear Solid one, but that was just like a version of a graphic novel, if I recall correctly. I have that, I think, downloaded to this PSP, actually. But, so I think that was before, but yeah, I don't know of a whole lot of what was in this format of UMD animated comics. But yeah, the bubbles just sort of pop up. See, that way, dude only had to do one picture and could do all this dialogue. Oh, we get some animated text here, too. What the hell is that in the background? Oh, that's an ambulance. The colors are a bit odd, so I couldn't really tell. Then we get this, like, Julian Sands and Warlock looking dude as the bad guy. And last time I streamed this, I went on this, like, bizarre tangent about, I'd watched this thing called The Moody Murders, which was about, in Africa, there are some tribal people who are believing in magic, and the most extreme form is they take body parts, and those have the highest amount of magic. So then somehow we got on to the topic of albinos, because you may have seen some of that news stuff about how they also think albino people, there are some tribal people who think albino people, if you, like, take their body parts or rape them or do all these, like, really horrible things, that it somehow gives you more magic. So anyway, somehow I got onto that tangent because I had been watching these documentaries on these things because of the albinos, and there's also I was on the TV tropes page about albinos, about what the evil albino trope. See if I can find it. And how these things are very harmful to people who, actually are albinos and aren't evil. Did they even show the dude yet? So anyway, that's what I was on about. Because the story is so dull, you'll have to go on these wild tangents just to keep your sanity, Oh, there he is. The evil albino. and animated text. I'm on the wrong screen. There's a lag on the Twitch page. I should be looking at the OBS window. I tend to do these things. So anyway, this dude, Doug, I think his name was, is a reporter, and in Silent Hill there's like never anything going on, and then there's this big murder. So I guess that's where we are in the story. But yeah, one of my largest complaints about this comic is the fact that I just don't give a damn about, like, literally any character in it. Like, this guy's kind of an annoying dick, so I don't really care what happens to him, and I don't like him as a protagonist. And his girlfriend's pretty one-dimensional, so I don't much like her either. Now he's gonna tell us what a, nice, normal, boring town Silent Hill is. And that's supposed to be the reference to James and Mary. I missed that last time I was streaming. I must have looked away there at that point. Oh, also it overdoes its theme, this comic book. The theme being, the comic title about hunger and being hungry and eating and so on. It just, like, really overdoes it, and it's very heavy-handed to the point it becomes annoying at times toward the end. I mean, some of it's funny, and I don't dislike most of the art, but it's not really a favorite, among comics, I have to say. And creepy children's drawings with a wheelchair in it. Oh, and some of the monsters. Well, I imagine the artist is not, a monster concept artist or anything, but some of them they just don't fit in the series. Like the ones that are just like muscly dudes with a green skull for a head. I mean, how does that fit in Silent Hill? It doesn't. So I think it's possible that the author or authors or artists or whoever was involved with this could have done something halfway decent and, like, Lovecraftian with it, but trying to fit all that, plus an evil albino in with Silent Hill and just, like, randomly putting these references in, that's what doesn't, like, do it for me. And it's just sort of a hodgepodge. Speaking of rambling about things, I was just thinking that I should do actual, like, edited video reviews of each game in order. Also, as an aside there, because I just get off on tangents because I can't actually pay attention to the story. But yeah, I'm not too big into comics. I mean, after I got what were they? Anyway, the ones Pt2 did, the Silent Hill ones, I got one of his comics, and his artwork's pretty cool. I mean, I've been to his website, and I did enjoy his comic because it's like some of it's done like in oil paint and it just looks very different. And then there's some more traditional comic looking stuff. And it's just like, I don't know. I enjoyed it more than most comic books I've read, which probably hasn't been a whole lot. So now we got like a dude with a whip, and the albino guy is a voyeur or something. What? Like, what's this have to do with anything? It's just, did he have a certain amount of time he had to fill, or, you know, a number of panels to really stretch this out into this very long animated comic? I don't know. Oh god, and her shadow is shaped like Pyramid Head. Good god. I just want to like groan reading a few of these things. Okay, now. Something about Brookhaven Hospital. And here's our hunger theme, and eating things and so on. And oh no, is he insane, or is everyone else insane? But yeah, I can sit through this one, you know, a couple times now and again because it's like I haven't seen it anywhere else since it's not published in any other format. But like I can't even sit through the animated comics of whichever other ones are on this disc. Like I can't even suffer through it. But that's another reason I went and screen capped like every bit of dialogue and every like frame of this, so then you can like go through it in a minute and a half rather than whatever huge amount of time this actually takes. And then you get monsters like this. And even the doll is hungry. So now we get like mini biographies of everybody in town, I guess. It just feels like he's trying to cram more random crap into it. But is this the Silent Hill 2 reference here? The other one, I mean. To where James finds that first monster and he gets the board. Now, things like that would be cute if the story was, like, I don't know, a bit more engaging than it is. He's still worrying if he's insane. Oh, there we go. Now we get a Silent Hill 2 location. Except it's like some Charles Manson looking dude that he fights, and it's not, the lying figure. And these long zoom ins and zoom outs, that counts as animation, I guess. Oh, and it's the shaky cam. That just makes you seasick, it doesn't really count as animation. I mean, this whole thing. Now, I kind of want to look up if there were many other, comics that were done in this way, and how badly this format actually did fail. Because I can only guess it failed pretty hard. But even with not liking the story much, I'd still rather, read it, as a web page or a PDF or on a physical, book form than this. And while I have nothing against Silent Hill soundtrack music, of course, I'd just as soon read a book and listen to whatever music, I choose at that time. So, there's that too. I mean, if they're not going to put dialogue and things in, then it just seems, I don't know, like they aren't trying very hard. So it seems like pointless to me. Alright, don't mind me, I'm eating Sour Patch Kids. So if you hear any crinkling, that's my fault. But while I'm on the topic and going off on tangents, I have to say that the Sour Patch Kids Fire are not hot, and they're not worth buying. However, the, lemonade ones, those were the good ones. Though berry is still my favorite. Tropical sucked. Alright, now he's trying to call Rosie again. But yeah, the characters are not really fleshed out, and they seem very one-dimensional, and again, I just can't bring myself to care about them, and that also makes me unable to really care about the story or anything that's happening to them. Now this guy has a melting head. Or is this one of the very Silent Hill-like monsters? I think there was supposed to be a joke in here that I missed. But now I can't remember. No, the monsters start as people. Yeah, I'm really not feeling this monster here. Yeah, that's just lame as hell. It's like based on Skeletor or something. I don't know. It just doesn't fit at all. Like, let's just put a skull on something, and that's scary, right? Nah. But on the topic of monsters, there's like hordes of, actual Silent Hill monster cameos. Right at the end, I think. Then there are these little dudes. Also, speaking of proofreading, kinda of cherry soda, that doesn't sound very right to me. So now we got a sarcastic woman in a pool, or in a bathtub filled with blood. Alrighty then. Okay, back to the place from the beginning. I feel like they could have condensed most of this into about 1/10 of the length it ended up being. So that's why it bothers me that there's so much, like, filler material. Like, they're just gonna do biographies of every single person that ever lived in the town. Why do we need that? It really doesn't advance the plot. They could have just, given a description of the characteristics of the town in this story, which are, it's, I don't know, it's just sort of dull and uninteresting, and nothing ever happens. And that's why he's writing newspaper articles on gardenias or whatever. And then they try to get into the cult stuff, and oh god, it doesn't work. It's just like randomly throw the symbols into here, and a lady that's tied up, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Oh, we get some flames behind him this time. And then we learn that he was chosen because he's a journalist, and that way he can, like, observe everything and write a book about it. Except he doesn't seem to know a damn thing. So, like, what good would he be for that? And why doesn't the white-haired dude just write his own damn book, or, you know, dictate it to him or something? But no, like, it just doesn't fit. It's not a strong story, I guess. But in any case, some people had been asking me if I was going to, oh god. And then we get the cameos of random symbols and monsters. But some people, were asking if I was going to, like, mess with the files and do cam hacked, like, playthroughs on here. And I just haven't been on lately because I've had too much homework. So the answer is yes, eventually, but I'm not very good with schedules. I just realized it had been like 2 weeks since I uploaded any Silent Hill stuff to the YouTube channel, which is unusual lately. But now I have this, I suppose. And all these frames that just sort of zoom out. And that starts to irritate me after a while, and then this blinds transitions. I wrote that wrong as though he said he had bones in his balls. I'm like, what the hell? It's exactly what the hell, dude. The whole story that sort of applies to. So let's just bring in some random monster cameos. This is what I mean, it just feels like so much filler. Okay, I was trying to figure out, did he shoot a hole and shoot the dude in half? What? But no, it was monsters that have done this. Now we're gonna get more town people biographies, I guess. Dog, stop that. My dog's eating his foot. Now these are, I guess, the grown-up versions of the things by the bathtub. And they're just like giant mouths because that's the theme of the thing, I guess. Pow, pow. I think it was made in Windows Movie Maker. These damn blinds transitions. Like, nobody cares about the insane cancer there. They're just like, I don't know. This is why I can't sit through this very often. There's parts that are just sort of drag on forever and are unbearable. So now I guess we're getting the books theme again. You know, him being a journalist, and now they're in a library. And then they're gonna... the white-haired fellow is going to tell him to write a book again. Also, her butt looks very strange there. Now we get the birthing of the gods stuff, I guess. Fwap. So now the book he wrote is already there, even though he didn't write it yet. Well, I wish she'd just eat them already then. Before we have to go meet more townspeople. So now, like, what the hell is this? Like, the SWAT team are here, or? No, it's got the same insane cancer, plus 2 nurses. Yeah, he doesn't know shit. I mean, how's he gonna write a book about it? So is this just an excuse to go to Brookhaven to name drop some more, or, you know, so we've already seen files about, like, looking for a fertile woman or whatever, presumably to birth the god. So why do we have to go to the hospital? Except that we have to meet literally every person that lives in the town. But yeah, he's writing a book, so that's why he has to meet every single person in the town. Even when it has nothing to do with anything. Oh, not these ones again. Gotta get in some nurses as well, I suppose. Oh god. And now they think the god is Samuel. And he's the one being reborn. So what, now they have multiple gods? And those mouth monsters, which I dislike almost as much as the skull monsters. And again, superimposed flames count as animation here. I think he already made this face like 50 times already, too. Should be getting towards the end, though. And we'll be right back. Oh, it's terrible. Terrible. No, it's not. I mean, what the hell is this? He's like, high five. So I guess the entire plot is the dude with white hair and his cronies want the god, who they identify as Samuel, to be reborn, so they're looking for women to do that, and then they want him to write a book about it because he's a journalist. See, they could have said all that, like, much more quickly. Let's see. It's already been almost an hour this thing has lasted, and it's been mostly nonsense. But yeah, the whole halo of the sun and saying that the god is Samuel, it's pretty painful. Even ignoring all the other things. And a lot of the art is just reused, like, multiple times, because, you know, they aren't really saying anything new, I suppose. I could really do without the, the blinds transitions between, like, every other frame, though. And I guess his deep-seated issue is he wants to write about stuff. Sorry if I don't, this doesn't make me give a damn about him. So these are recycled too from earlier panels, but photoshopped together. Oh, the UMD just made a noise. I can turn the sound back on, since they aren't going to give me copyright strikes. Let's see what else is. What's on this side? Dying inside. I believe that one sucked too. But at least it, like sucked on paper. So you can, read through it at your own pace. And it doesn't have to take an hour like that one. Yeah. Not what I'm looking for here. That might be everything on here. Besides some horrible comics that I don't want to look at. Because, as I said, these ones you can get on paper, and I'm sure you could find them just by searching also. What is this doing? No. Okay, so that's going to see if I press that. It gives me all these. Lets me choose between all the books, but none of them are really worth choosing. So let's not do that. So what else was there? It's over here. Okay, I press left. And it's probably things I've seen before. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I gotta go. Then they change up what the buttons mean on you. So what that was, left. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh, I didn't want to leave the UMD either. But I think once you get into a video, you can't, like, get out of it. What the hell's going on here? Oh, okay. That lets me go past it. Forward's gonna take me to those TVs, I think. And I think this is all that's left. Hope it doesn't say anyone was involved with the proofreading, because, there were some issues there with the misspellings and things. But otherwise, it was an interesting sort of experiment, I guess. Putting these things on one of these discs. Though I can really see why. Did they spell his name right this time? Okay. I was seeing if they spelled Christoph Gann's name right this time, since they misspelled it the other time before his interview. But I can see why these UMD animated comics failed, and you never heard of them again after, about a minute. I mean, it was cool putting them in a school and everything, and still. I mean, it doesn't actually look like the one in the games, and that would have helped if it did. And also the controls are like confusing and wonky, so I didn't like that. Oh, well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. This is where they have the comics credits here. Was that everything? What was in front of this? No. Where they spell Christoph Gans's name wrong as Kritzoff instead of Christoph. So let's just back out of here. Then there's these pauses when you can't do anything because you have to wait for the menu to load, so that kind of sucks too. Well, I guess that's the end of it then. There's nothing left besides the comic books that I can't bear to sit through, and they're also available, in print format, so I'm not going to go through those, since I'm sure it's the worst possible way to sit through them would be the animated UMD comics. So, if you haven't seen those and for some reason you want to, I would suggest looking at them in print or, scanned of the print versions. And yeah, that's everything, including the hidden videos. I guess it's sort of an interesting oddity. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Oh, there's my dog shaking his ears. But yeah, as a sort of historical, collection of things, and as an oddity, it's interesting, but not something I'd really go through a whole lot. But some people had asked me because, it's not something I guess a lot of people have. But anyway, I guess that took a couple hours to get through everything except for the comics I don't want to go through. I only went through the one comic, but that took an hour, and then every other thing took an hour, so I guess I will sign off for the night, and thanks for stopping by. I will upload these, and I'll also rip better copies of the interviews and put those on the YouTube channel at sometime in the near future. But yeah, I've had my fill of UMD comics for a while now, I'd say. But thanks for stopping by, and have a good night. I'm gonna sign off now.